I am Hannah Schmitz, your sergeant at arms for today. I'm going to change my background. Please forgive me. Here we are. I am Hannah. I shall be your sergeant at arms for today. A warm welcome to meeting number 44.
Hannah, you're okay. It's okay. Go ahead. Your camera was off for a while.
Yeah. Welcome to our meeting number 44. The theme for today is Leaders Ride Waves. And at Leadership Speak, leaders are most definitely riding the waves, the Toastmaster waves. Toastmasters provides a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. At Leadership Speak is a premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better and self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused on leadership development with the core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence. As reading our timer, she has a virtual hand raised so that we can all immediately see who is keeping time for us. And I now have the honor in introducing to you our Toastmaster of the day, Mary Lou Azan. Mary Lou joined Toastmasters in June 2018 at the Port of Blarney in Newmarket. She wanted to polish her presentation skills and be more at ease with impromptu speaking and social events. Since joining Toastmasters, it has been a great learning experience at both personal and professional level. This multifaceted learning environment makes a Toastmaster experience an ongoing growth experience. One never stops learning new things, and she keeps coming back. Please help me welcome Mary Lou, your Toastmaster for today. Mary Lou, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Let's have a wonderful meeting today. Leaders ride waves. Everyone lives with waves, the ebb and flow of life. Leaders learn to master riding the waves. How does a leader ride a wave? Taos Lu said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. A leader with a challenge is like a surfer trying to ride a wave. They need to get into the water and understand the conditions. What are their circumstances? What are the conditions associated with their challenge? Next, they need to learn how to manage each of these conditions that are present, and don't forget that they're constantly evolving. What worked before may not necessarily be applicable now. Then, the most important, they need to take the first step. They need to try. After the first step, they need to assess, adjust, and repeat. With each successive step comes the exhilaration of accomplishment. Later, James Keenan, whom some of you may know, said, when it comes to a crossroads, you can either be crippled by doubt, or you can start down an inspirational new path. You have to put one foot in front of the other and remind yourself that there are no wrong choices. You may find the waves to be a challenge, but in each challenge, there is also the window of opportunity. Leaders are always on the lookout for opportunities when riding the waves. Look at the big one right behind you. Welcome everyone to Leadership Speak this morning. It's going to prove to be another wonderful learning experience for us all. And I'd like to welcome Tony Bratchett to do our toast this morning. Tony.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Welcome, Toastmasters from around the world. I'm going to ask you to indulge me for a moment. in just a moment. However, imagine, look at the background of Mary Lou Ashan with that wave that's right behind her. Imagine being on that wave, not behind the wave, but on the wave. And why we're on top of the wave. And I'm not talking about the Toastmaster core values, which we all know. And those core values, of course, is the desire for excellence, integrity, respect, and service to others. We know those values. We can read those values. I'm not talking about those values. I'm talking about the real reason why we are on top of the wave, because we're there to do the right thing at the right way, at the right time, for the right reason. Your reason for being a leader, for being a member of Leadership Speak. And being on top of that wave, on top, not behind. It's because we can see the horizon and we can imagine what's beyond the horizon. And other people will follow us. Now, I'm going to ask you to indulge yourself, to imagine being on top of that wave, which you should have no problem because you're there. And to raise your glasses, mugs, and to give a toast to yourself. Leaders ride waves.
Leaders ride waves.
Back to you,
Thank you, Tony.
Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Tony. Next, we have our grammarian of the day, the lovely Sandy Endin. Sandy, would you join us and let us know a little bit about your role today, please?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mary Lou. My role today will be to count ums and ahs and lip smacks and also try to catch word usages, and this will be a challenge for me. I'll be riding the wave the entire time. This is a listening role and I am plugged in both ears because my role is to pay attention so that I can help the general evaluator at the end of the meeting to report on how we did and how our grammar was today. I'll also report on the word of the day, which thank goodness Mariana will put a slide up for me. The word of the day is metal. And I love this word. I learned it last year and I'm using it a lot now with my walking partner. And metal means one's ability to cope with difficulties or face a demanding situation in a spirited and resilient way. This sounds like Toastmasters to me. I'll give you an example. Leadership Speak Club showed their true mettle in the second half of the Toastmaster year. I hope you try to use this word during our meeting today. If you hear it, please do this so that I can remember to mark this down and report back at the end of the meeting, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Sandy. You will do a fabulous job and our members will use metal in their speeches. Next is a person that's very important to the entire meeting, which is our timer. Ashwani, please let us have a little bit of information about your role, please.
Hello, hi. Fellow Toastmasters and your guests. Today I'm timer at Leadership Speak. And as a timer, what I would do is I would record the time duration of every speaker. So every speaker would be given a specific time limit. So I'll be symboling some color cards to signal the speaker. So in case of project speakers, when the speaker reaches a maximum time allotted, I will show green. When the speaker reaches the midpoint of time allotted, I will showcase yellow. And at the end of speaking time, I will show red. So just let me quickly give you an example. So there are different projects which we will be going to witness today. So at a minimum time allotted, green, yellow, and red. So this is how I'm going to catch time for everyone. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Thank you, timer. Our next speaking session is a panel discussion. And this will be led by Francoise Bowen. Francois is doing leadership on cultural identity, and her evaluator today is Vinod Panikkar. Vinod?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Toastmaster Francois is attending her level 5 elective from the Path Innovative Planning. The purpose statement of the project is for the members to apply his or her skills as a public speaker and a leader to facilitate a panel discussion. The timing will be 40 minutes and the timing is divided as follows. And the timer has been informed about it by the speaker, but still for the benefit of all the audience, I would just be repeating it. The discussion part will be 30 minutes, the green at 20, amber at 25, and red at 30. For the question and answer session after the discussion, it would be 10 minutes, green at 8, amber at 9, red at 10. All the very best, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Vinod. Francois, are you ready? All excited. Okay, so Francois, leadership, cultural identity. Leadership, cultural identity, Francois Bowen, over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is a pleasure for me to have this panel discussion, something that we all need right now. And I'm going to introduce my guests to you. They're coming from different parts of the globe, but you know what? We're going to be learning from their experiences and current experiences that will help us. My first guest I will introduce will be Distinguished Toastmaster Newell. Distinguished Toastmaster Newell. A Toastmaster since 2006, professionally chartered electrical engineer and working in the largest utility organization in Sri Lanka and in top 10 of management. She is medley distinguished district director and achieved world ranking #1 in pathway enrollment. Also recognized as excellence program quality director and excellence in club growth director. Served as immediate past district director and the district leadership chair. Currently serving right now as a district parliamentarian. Distinguished Toastmaster Newell chartered 65 clubs during the tenure of club growth director. Served as division governor and twice area governor and achieved president distinguished status. Served in all 7 club officers roles in multiple clubs and multiple types. Reviving clubs is her passion. Please help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Newell Monwara. How are you? All right. My next guest, I will now call on Distinguished Toastmaster Zivai Matundo. Zivai Matundo. Distinguished Toastmaster Zivai Matundo is the founder of Global Women Extraordinaire. She's the director and the lead coach of Zivai M Coaching and Consulting. Currently, she is the twin of our favorite Distinguished Toastmaster, Granny B. She is the second club growth director of District 74 Global Award-winning life transformation strategist. She helps professional women who are completely shelved their dreams and have nothing to show for their tenure to boldly say farewell to a mediocre life and awaken their identity to discover who they truly are, while creating a legacy-inspired life of abundance, enjoyment, and fulfillment. Zivai has a passion for transforming lives, raising leaders, and bringing success to ordinary people through achieving extraordinary results as they build their dreams. Help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Zivai Matundo. Last but not least, none other than distinguished Toastmaster Innocent Jr. Richard. Distinguished Toastmaster Innocent Jr. Richard is the Caribbean Toastmasters District 81 immediate past district director. He studied law and sociology, specializing in project management, aimed at strengthening the economic power of women and specializing in urban management. He also carries out team building activities for organizations and private companies. His journey starts as Toastmasters International in October 2010, and since then, he has always been very active, either at the club level, division level, at the district level. He is a member of the Club Amarellis and the Pioneers Advanced Club. In 2017, he completed the Toastmasters International Educational Program, which earned him the Distinguished Toastmaster Award. Help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Innocent Richard. Welcome, every one of you. Now, leadership. We are daunted right now with the term leadership, culture, and we are tested in so many ways. So my first question is, as leaders, we are called to a higher purpose. Define, in your words, leadership. And I will start off with Distinguished Toastmasters Divide. What does leadership mean to you?
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. My understanding of leadership is that leadership is a process. And when I say it's a process of social influence, where one is then maximizing the efforts of the people that they are leading towards achieving a set goal for the team or for the organization. That is what I would say my understanding of leadership is.
All right. And Distinguished Newell, what is your definition of leadership?
Yes, my understanding is the leadership is a person who really get a group of people to work towards one direction to achieve the common goals and also the specific goals. Because the leader always should be with the team and may have the understanding of the entire team members and also understanding their culture and understanding their capacity and capability and drive them to achieve the common goal and specific.
Right, that is correct, that is good. And Distinguished Toastmaster, Innocent Richard, what is your definition of leadership?
Good morning, Francoise, and thank you. It's a pleasure for me to participate in this panel and to visit this club for the very first time. To complete my two colleagues, I can say that for me, leadership is about taking risks and challenges the status quo. For me, leaders are supposed to motivate others to achieve something new and better. I remember that a quote from Norman Schwarzkopf. He said, leadership is a potent combination of strategy and character. But if you must be without one, be without the strategy. It's my conception of leadership.
All right, thank you. And all three of you have shared definitely that one focus about leadership. And this has led me to something that the culture. Culture, we come from various backgrounds. Distinguished Toastmasters Divide is from Zimbabwe, and Distinguished Toastmaster Newell from Sri Lanka, and Distinguished Toastmaster Innocent from the Caribbean. Now, when it comes to culture, it can be a bit ticklish when we are invited to speak, present, whether it's through Toastmasters or inside Toastmasters. The Toastmasters' core values is integrity, respect, service, and excellence. how can Toastmasters club values help us as leaders to respect another culture outside of our personal core values? I ask that because it's so ticklish that what might be okay for me is not okay for another. So how can we use Toastmasters core values in our leadership in another culture? I will start with Distinguished Toastmaster Innocent, because you are the immediate past district director of the Caribbean, and the Caribbean is an entire pepper pot, as we say, with a blend of cultures and beauty. So I'll start with you with this question.
Thank you again, Francoise. For me in the district, understanding culture requires understanding not only language differences, but also differences in knowledge, perception, belief, attitude, and behaviors. Culture generally refers to the pattern of human activity and the symbolic structures that give those activities meaning and importance. Culture can be defined as the set of ways of life, including the arts, beliefs, and institution of population that are transmitted from generation to generation. Cultures has been called a way of life for an entire society. As such, it includes codes of manners, dress, languages, religion, rituals, arts, standards of behavior. In District 81, because we have 26 different countries and territories, yes, there are so many, so many cultures in District 81. We spoke also 6 different languages. We speak Dutch, Spanish, Creole, French, Papiamento, and of course English. We are so different in District 81, but we take this difference in advantage also. Someone said, sometimes the river is the bridge. This is why we do in District 81. We take opportunities from these obstacles, and we try to be one, even though we are different in District 81.
All right. And that is something that I'm going to lead. Let's flow that river over to Distinguished Toastmasters Dubai in Southern Africa. So the same question also goes to you as well, Distinguished Toastmaster, because you have a lot of countries as well that you are managing as a Permanent Club Growth Director. And I share the same question. Let me get your feedback as well too.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. In Southern Africa, District 74, we are 12 countries. So within those 12 countries, we also have Mauritius, Madagascar, and Angola. And when we're looking at culture, there are different social norms, or let me call it culture etiquette, with the different communities or the different countries. And so what is acceptable in Zimbabwe may not necessarily be acceptable in a different country. And currently with the online meetings, it hasn't been as pronounced, but during the in-person meetings, I'll give you one example. In my culture, as a Zimbabwean, you are not meant to look at an adult straight in the eye. So even when you're speaking to them, you're not giving them the eye contact. And yet within Toastmasters, you are getting measured by your eye contact to say you're not giving eye contact. It's termed as or deemed as a sign of disrespect. A younger person cannot challenge an older person on what they will have said. And so if we're, say, having a discussion and I, the younger one, disagree with what my elder has said, I can't air my views because it's as if I've challenged my elder. And so when we look at Toastmasters with our values, our core values, the integrity, the respect, service, and excellence, I think it brings us to a point where when we've given the we've said the Toastmasters promise that we're going to conduct ourselves in a manner where we are respecting the guests and the members. And so the older members in our clubs should then not feel like this young member is disrespecting me by questioning or disagreeing with what I've said or by giving me the eye contact. And so the whole culture discussion or aspect is quite pronounced when, say, for example, if we look at the different provinces in South Africa, they actually have different cultures within the South African culture. And so you may not know that the person you're speaking to expects you as a female to kind of give them more respect than you would give to a fellow female counterpart. And so those dynamics, I think it's, I would say, where one needs to understand the environment they are getting into. I could even start bringing in the dress code to say what's acceptable for certain cultures may not be acceptable for a different culture. Talk about greeting. Toastmaster Ram talked about the acronym GUEST, and where he says greeting. With some, you're not even meant to shake hands. So now if you don't know to say, should I be shaking a hand? I had an interesting experience before COVID, and we were able to hug. In my country, you just give one embrace, and that's a hug. You start going up north, it's supposed to be 2 hugs, one to the left and one to the right. Then I landed up in the DRC, in the Congo, and they hug 3 times. So where you think, okay, I've done the one embrace and it's enough. And for them, they still want to give you 3 hugs. So it's an interesting discussion that we are having, and I could go on. But it then forces you to learn and appreciate the other cultures, especially if you're going to be traveling to the different countries. You then don't want to offend anybody by how you carry yourself. Back to you, Madam Moderator.
No, I am shocked with all of this because this question actually came to me from a Toastmaster. When I visit another Toastmaster club where the ladies must wear the hijab, what am I supposed to wear it where in my culture that's not the case? And I'm going to know, let that river flow now to distinguish Toastmasters do well. So we just heard from distinguished Toastmasters divide. And the different cultures, that's an example, even to an elder, you know, we are all taught that if you want to grow, you know, you speak with the elders to get, you know, they want level, because if it's seen as a challenge, sometimes it could be seen as a challenge, but I just want to be better. I remember this distinctively, a young guy asked me why. Why do you have to do this? Why do you have to? Because it's all why? I was like, okay. And I had to break it down in simple terms for the youth to understand. So if I am a Toastmaster, I'm from the Caribbean, and I decide to come to your meeting, but I'm not wearing the hijab, what is that for you on your end, distinguished Toastmaster Nura? And if you can expound more with that.
Yes, yes, Bond, really. When it comes to hijab really, I think in my district, I think I very few who really wear hijab and very few hijab. But when it comes to, yes, it doesn't make much difference when it comes to District 82 as Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka is all Tamil and Sinhala and Muslim people, we live together. Of course, in certain places, the Muslim people are dominated and some people, in other community people are dominated. But when it comes to Toastmasters, only the members who can really break the barrier come and join the Toastmasters club. So we do not have much issues with the hijab. But people had always had a question, how can I lead a district with hijab? But even before I became the district director, I was attending the international conventions and I always wearing hijab. And I was always identified as a unique person in the Toastmasters fraternity. So everybody really enjoyed. They used to take the pictures with me. So my district leaders are, Murora, you are not going to remove your hijab at any time because it is your unique identity. But of course, there are some clubs, exceptional clubs. They have some limitation. They don't recruit any woman Toastmasters. They have only the male Toastmasters. So when we visit those clubs, we have to be a bit careful, especially like Ziva said, handshaking is our giving a hug is an offending. But of course, I'm very careful when I go to that particular club. But in general, I have no issue shaking hands, giving hugs, because we always respect each and everyone. So we always greet everyone with a hug. But again, it is different. India and Sri Lanka, we were together at the beginning of our journey. And there again, you know, the northern part is different, southern part is different. So they have their own identity. They really hug each and everyone. So before walking to any clubs or any particular geography, as a respect, to give a responsible Toastmaster, we should understand their culture, their dress code, their way of speaking, and their expectation from the Toastmasters. Knowing all those things, I am sure any Toastmasters can face such challenges and definitely be a winner for a change in the systems. Yes, Bob.
Wow. Wow. So, and this is definitely will be the same in our professional life, because we're visiting another country or visiting somewhere. We need to do our research and to ensure that we're not offending and we're not in any way being disrespectful. And it led me to something that I saw that Toastmasters International posted recently on their website, and it was in October 2022, and it stated on the communication across cultures. Culture helps define our communities, but communicating across different cultures is a vital skill in an ever-expanding world. DTM Nural, I'm going to stay with you for a moment. Your professional career, you are the #1 female, or in the top 10 leaders in the industry of engineering. And you mentioned that there's some clubs, there's some Toastmasters club in your district that is male dominated. You're in a male dominated industry. Give us some sort of insight, if you can, how you're able to remain true to yourself and still be able to ensure that Sri Lanka is receiving the services. Give us more insight about you being in a male-dominated industry and the lone female.
Yeah, really, when it comes to engineering, you know, especially when it comes to the electricity utility, we have more than 1,000 engineers. So among them, I am one of the top 10 and one of the top 10 in the industry. And yes, as field engineers, do have a lot of challenges because after they can't climb on a pole, can't climb on a tower, we can't handle difficulties, we can't mostly the maze, but all this comes with leadership. How each and everyone, even a laborer, give them due recognition. You see, they will not you just get talk there and see that we are recognizing it. So when we feel to supervise the work, so we should understand the practical difficulties they are undergoing with the rain, with the hot weather, with the windy weather. It's not easy to climb up on a tower and work, but we must be very, very empathetic with them. We must understand their work and we should give them due recognition. Give them a project and at the end of completion of each project, bring them to the office, throw them a party and recognize them with the letter of certification, really make them proud. Because when they get opportunity to talk to their super leaders, they really love it. When we speak to them, they love it. So this is how that you can really combat your challenge as a female leader. I should say, oh yes, because of my Toastmaster experience, I am really standing out as a unique person within my utility because of my decision making, even for smaller things. Because at the same time, some engineers struggle even to take very, very minor decisions, but taking risk and taking decision is your passion when you become a passionate Toastmaster. That make me a standing out as a female engineer in a dominated engineering field.
Wow, congratulations and thank you so much for that. And you have touched on something that John C. Maxwell spoke about in his book, The Law of Empowerment and the Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And he says, only secure leaders give power to others. In Toastmasters, we learn of different styles of leadership: the bureaucratic, authoritative, innovative, pace-setting, democratic, affiliative, coaching, altruistic. How should a leader maneuver extreme intent seas with any of these leadership styles? And I'm going to go to distinguished Toastmaster Innocent, if you can answer this one for us, please.
Yes, I said depend on the situation. When you are leaders, sometimes you're supposed to be to adapt the style democratic, but sometimes you're not supposed to do it. Then depend on the situation, depend on the context, depend on the group also. The most important thing is that you know that you are a leader. And sometimes you need to receive advices from your team. Sometimes also you're supposed to give instruction to your team. Then it's important to know your style of leadership. This is why I really like this project. This project helps us to understand our leadership styles. and help us also to understand in which situation we can use which style of leadership. Then as leaders in Toastmasters International, we hear so many hats and take look at the situation and choose the best card to put in your head.
I am going to admit something here. That team, sorry, Toastmaster wear many hats. I'm starting to look at it and I'm looking at it and then it's like, oh my goodness, how much hats am I supposed to be wearing? Like, really? So this leads now to my next question, and I'm going to remain with you, distinguished Toastmaster, in a sense. Captain, the ship is sinking. Everybody's going. This is leaving. That is leaving. Mental health is needed. Should a club president or should a leader, a CEO, should say, you know what, to heck with all of you all. I need to save myself as well to at least everybody. Sometimes a leader, I would love to hear from you, because you, as I said, 26 Caribbean countries. And then I'm going to go to DTM Dubai right after with the same thing. How do we manage? How, like, sometimes I want to take off my natural hair. Let me hear from you. So let me hear from you, distinguished Toastmaster, in this sense, with mental health.
You know, sometimes I remember when I was district director on December last year, I have a meeting with the executive team, and I said, you know, guys, it's important to finish the year strongly, because the year before we finish as Smidley distinguished. But I said the most important is not to finish Smidley distinguished. The most important is to be in healthy condition. And I said, take a break. We live in Caribbean, go to the beach, go to the bar, drink some good cocktails, and we are going to start the year on January. It is time to take a break. Sometimes when you lead a large district like District 81 with 26 countries, with 200 clubs, sometimes you need to take a break to consacrate more time to your family. I have two little boys, for example, and I supposed to give them some time also. Then it's not an easy job. Sometimes you need to take a break. And as leaders, when you are at the top level, it's you to inspire others and to invite them to take a break. When people are really tired, they can produce they can give the same result. Then this is why it's important to take a break. And I like to take a break. I like to forget everything and to just watching TV, go to Netflix and look at a good movie. Even though I have 26 countries, even though I have 200 clubs to manage, sometimes you need to take to take a break and to look at something new.
Exactly. If anyone have questions, please post your questions in the chat and or comments. We have a question and answer for 10 minutes later on. So if you have any questions that came up while in the discussion, don't hesitate. You can put it in the chat. All right, thank you. So I'm going to DTM Dubai. Let me hear yours. Tell me, do you scream like, oh, enough? Let me hear you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Like DTM Innocent was saying, you also need to look after you, because you can't then give what you don't have. And yes, you are leading, and you're leading a group of dynamic people that are different. You can't afford to then lose it, if I can put it that way, whilst you are leading. And so as a leader, don't then hesitate to shout for help. Obviously, you're not going to tell the entire team, but you would have a core team that you are working with. So, for example, I being the CGD, I'm working with the PQD, Program Quality Director and District Director. And I would then say to them, look, I am really wasted right now, and I will not be able to deliver in my role to my full capacity. So please allow me 3 days or at least some time to rest. I had that personal experience where we had traveled from South Africa via Kenya, went to Mauritius, hit the ground running. Our first meeting was just as we landed. Then we were in Mauritius, moved to Madagascar. So for 3 weeks solid, there was no rest. And some may think, but what were you doing? But because we had a mission and we didn't have enough time, we committed to do what needed to be done. And it was end of the month, September, which meant we were not sleeping our full hours because we were checking if payments had been made and clubs are verified, new clubs are launching, and so on. But after that period, it was okay for us to step back and people not hear from us for 3 days because we've put in the time. And so as a leader, I would say, don't leave the ship sinking, because even after you move on, there are others who are going to take over. And yes, it's not easy, but call for help. And it may not be help from within in terms of the people on your team, but there could be others outside your boat or outside your ship who can come on board and help you scoop that water out of the ship or do something so that you don't totally sink. So that balance, yes, you need to strike the balance. But again, it's the communication to then say, are the people around you knowing where you are at and what you need, that you need time out? So that's my input on that, to say, no, do not jump ship, stay on and navigate it back to safe waters.
I really have to ask that question because not just myself, but there are many leaders who are on this call right now who really just feel like jumping ship. Some of them, they're actually just like Titanic, they're at the tip and just ready to just, but so what you have just given to all of us, no? Come off the tip, go back, and just have everything resolved in a nice, applicable way. Take the time off away. And I'm happy you, both of you have also said that, because sometimes a leadership role, not just in Toastmasters, but it could be at work. It's like you must work in the business, on the business, on top of the business, and you should not have any rest. And then you then break down. And as the phrase that says, the straw that breaks the camel back. And when that happens, sometimes things that are said out of your mouth can also be like, ooh, where is that coming from? So I'm really happy to say, listen, you can take some time off. You and your team, you can do that. I'm so happy I asked that question. Now, having a great online presence, thanks to, I have to say, COVID-19 of having online presence. The flip side now, when it comes to the bad toxic culture, and common trend right now is called cancel culture. And the definition is that if someone makes a mistake, you must get rid of them immediate effect. They should never be forgiven. Should a CEO hold a malice against any staff, past and or present, any Toastmaster, present Toastmaster or former Toastmaster on a wrong they have done, whether by error or by purpose? Should leaders start? Anyone at all? I'm going to start that question off with distinguished Toastmaster Newell, because you're in a male-dominated industry. Oh, tell us, should we? Or should we not? Norel? Okay, and I'm going to go to distinguished Toastmaster. In a sense, should the CEO hold malice against anyone?
I'm sorry, could you repeat again for me? I'm sorry.
Okay, are you hearing me? All right, so the question is, should any leaders hold malice against a staff or against a former staff member or a former Toastmaster or present Toastmaster because they may have made an error, whether it's intentional or not, because the trend today is about cancel culture. You're not supposed to forgive. What is your feedback on that? Are you hearing me?
No.
Okay. All right. The question is, should leaders hold malice against anyone? Should leaders hold malice against anyone? Should leaders hold malice against anyone?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. This might maybe my internet connection. I can say yes and no. Depend on the leaders. Depend on the situation. Wow. Even though you have a CEO or even though you have just an employer in an enterprise, the most important thing is about respect and understanding. For example, when I lead a team, when I lead District 31, when I visit clubs, area, division, when I go to the district conference in so many countries in District 31, the most important thing I refer, it's about one of the core values in Toastmasters International, is about respect. Toastmasters International helps me understanding that in my club, for example, each member is a person with his or her own skills and abilities, goals and ambition, strengths and weaknesses. This is the same thing I do everywhere. I have the possibility to lead. I've said myself, each person is a unique person. Each members in my team is a unique member with his ability, with his goal, with his strength, and with his weaknesses. This is why I understand people when I try to work with them. And I think this is one of the best attitude we can do when you are a leader, to be respectful and to understand the other people with them we walk all the day.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to go into the chat to see if there's any questions, but you definitely shared light that it works in both ways. And I'm really happy how you've expanded on it a lot. And I'm just going to check the chat quickly to see if we have anyone with questions, but I see some hands raised. And I'm going to go first to Distinguished Toastmaster Brahmamon. Distinguished Toastmaster Brahmamon, your hand is up. Please proceed.
I see the red light on, so we are out of time, but if you wish me to ask the question, I will.
Yes, this is now the 10 minutes for the question and answer.
No, actually, Francois, your
The
time
10
is.
minutes is over.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I'm enjoying it so much. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to let me just wrap it up with asking each of my guests to share one legacy, focusing on legacy, on what legacy should a leader push to leave for themselves that others can follow. What legacy should leaders push for themselves that others can follow, walking in the footprints of the sun? And I will start off with distinguished Toastmaster Nurel.
Yes, leave a legacy with a respect. Respect others and you will earn your respect. That will make your leadership journey very comfortable and very effective. That is the message that I can give you.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Dubai.
What I will leave with everyone is to say, it's a mantra I live by, where I say live local, but think global. So even as we are leading the people we are leading in the various spheres, sometimes we are focused on what is in our nation and we don't think across the border. And so as much as the organization may not be an international one, start thinking if it was international, such that even as you begin to interact with others, you are giving them that respect. You're also leading with integrity in whatever you are doing. And so live local, but think global, even as a leader, because you never know where those you are leading are going to land up. They may not stay within the borders.
Right, thank you so much for that. And distinguished Toastmaster Innocent.
I can say, be passionate by what you do and lead by example. Be the change that you want to see. Then when you are a leader, it's really important to lead by example. When you are club VP, when you are VP in your club, you ask members to achieve the goals. Start by achieving your own goals. When you are treasurer of your club, you want to people that they pay the dues. Start by paying your dues. Then lead by example. I think this is one of the most things we can live as legacy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Nurel, distinguished Toastmaster Dubai, and distinguished Toastmaster Innocent. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharpening every iron that is on this call and who will be watching it as well. The replay, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Francoise Bowen, and I hand over to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Francois, and thank you very much. And it was great mettle demonstrated by all the members of the panel today. So thank you very much. As we were a bit tight on time, I'm going to move ahead without a break today. So hopefully everybody is okay. And I'm going to call on our generally evaluator today, Aswati Rajan. Aswati?
Hello, thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Mary Lou, for inviting me. So I am the general evaluator for today's meeting. And I'll start with the evaluations. And for that, I'll call distinguished Toastmaster Bram Mimon to evaluate our leadership speech by Toastmaster Ram Lakhanpal. Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Rosie Rana, for that wonderful evaluation. It was rather a motivating evaluation with a great summary and great suggestions, especially about the body language. Thank you so much for those valuable feedback. Now, quickly moving on to our second evaluator, the evaluator for our panel discussion, Toastmaster Vinod Panikar. Over to you, Toastmaster Vinod.
Thank you very much, Madam G. Toastmaster Francoise, culture, a lens through which we see the world or the way of doing, the way we do things in our life. What an amazing topic and what an amazing panelist that you have selected. Now, what I liked about your panel discussion was the way you introduced each and every panelist. It was right from the manual of Toastmasters. So yes, Toastmasters had a manual for introduction, where an introduction is a 45-second speech with an opening, body, and a conclusion. And you made sure that every panelist who came, you made them high and, like what you said, made sure they were pumped up ready for that conducive environment you provided with that introduction. Amazing. You selected relevant panelists. That was one of the key things that this project required. And from the discussion that I heard, all the three panelists had a wealth of information. We can hear them for hours and hours. Thank you very much for selecting the relevant panelists. What I liked about your questions were you contextualized every question before asking. So communication is all about context, right? So you gave a context, you gave a quote, and then you jumped into the question, and then you led them to the answer. Very well done. Now let's come. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. Now, if it was any other club, I would have said, you could have looked at the timing, Francois. Your audio could have been better. You could have thanked the audience at the end. Let's keep that aside. In leadership speak, let me go a bit deeper. First thing, your topic was very broad. Leadership, culture, identity are three different universes. You can speak 1 hour on each topic. So I would have liked that if you had used only communicating across culture or leading across culture. That would have narrowed down the framework and narrowed down your questions, because your questions started from somewhere and ended up cancel culture. If you view it back, there was no proper framework for following this question, following the questions. The second thing is, a job of a moderator is to moderate. Sometimes in excitement, we do become the panelist. I also do that. I am also guilty of that. But we have to remember we are not the panelists. So the experts are there. We just need to provide them with questions and let them come with the answers. Now, the third thing, now, because I am a very big fan of culture and I have done a lot of research on culture, I would have liked if you had used any framework, because level 1 is research and presenting, one of the project where you have Edgar Schein model on culture, Gert Hofstadter, von Trompiners. There are millions of people who have done. You could have used one framework and ask questions related to that. So overall, I think you were able to bring in the collective wisdom of all the panelists. You did extremely well. Looking forward for more and more from you as well as the panelists. Thanks, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vinod, for that fantastic evaluation. I loved the commendation, especially on the introduction part. So this shows that how you were so keenly listening from the beginning, from the way how our speaker, our panel moderator introduced the panelists. So that was really wonderful. And I also loved how smartly you recommended all the points you covered about timing and everything, yet focusing on the question part. So that was really great. Thank you so much for all the wonderful commendations and recommendations from you. Now moving on to our timer report. Let me call upon Toastmaster Ashwini Aronkar for giving the report of timings taken by our speakers today.
Yeah, hello. So the first speaker, Toastmaster Ram Lakhanpal, took 11 minutes 49 seconds. Toastmaster Dinesh Sharma took 7 minutes 30 seconds. Toastmaster Francois took overall 43 minutes 25 seconds. For the evaluators, DTM Ram Memoni took 3 minutes 49 seconds for his evaluations. DTM Roji Rana took 3 minutes 27 seconds for evaluation. And Toastmaster Vinod took 3 minutes, 23 seconds. Back to you, Valid.
Thank you so much for that crisp and clear report, Toastmaster Ashwini. Now moving on to our grammarian, Toastmaster Sandy. Over to you, Toastmaster Sandy, for presenting the grammarian report.
Thank you very much. This was a great role, just having to listen. I learned so much today. We used the word of the day only twice that I heard, by Mary Lou and by Rosie, yes. I heard a few things today that I'm not sure are, that anyway caught my ear. And first was with Ram, who described his workplace as a super duper hotel. I thought I was the only person who said that, but I was glad to hear that. Not sure if that's good or bad in the Toastmaster world. Dinesh, you used something that I hear, I guess it's kind of cliche-ish, long story short. I use that all the time too. Again, not sure that is good or bad in the Toastmaster world. One of the things that I've heard a few times that is kind of a pet peeve of mine, I'm not even sure if it's correct, but it's when we say each and every member, each and every panelist, each and every, and I think we just need to say each person, each panelist, each member. But I'm not sure. The thing I heard from Vinod, which I wrote down and I will use, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. That really is great. Now, from our panelists, I highlighted their 3 legacies. Leave a legacy of respect, live local, think global, and lead by example. So those are things that caught my ear in the grammarian world, and I hope they maybe will be anchored in yours as well, Madam Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sandy, for that detailed report. That was really great. So now coming to my general evaluation about today's meeting. And as usual, Leadership Speak started well on time and started beautifully with a wonderful smile of our Sergeant at Arms today, Hannah. And the theme of the day was such a wonderful theme, Leaders Right Waves. And it was wonderfully conducted and presented by our TMOD. I just loved the way she started today's meeting. And of course, the Toastmaster Tony, who raised the toast, was also in sync with the theme. That was really good, that we were sailing on the waves with that theme. So that was really wonderful. And coming to the speeches, we had great speeches today. The leadership speech by Toastmaster Ram Lakhanpal, that was really wonderful. Only thing which I missed, as the evaluator also mentioned, that it could have been in sync with the theme. I feel the whole meeting could have been enjoyed and had a greater impact if we stick to the theme. So that was a little missed there. Otherwise, that was overall a great speech. And of course, then Toastmaster Dinesh, his speech, 3 Phases of My Life, was again a wonderful speech. And then our panel discussion, we enjoyed a lot. It was a great theme for discussion today, and I could hear more from it. I could have sat here and heard the discussion, participated in the discussion for whole day. Only thing which I missed in the discussion is we could have given more time for question and answer, because it was almost red when our members were ready to ask questions. So maybe a little awareness of time could have helped there. So that's a small suggestion from my side. And another thing which I feel, which is for all the members, that I couldn't see many of our members on screen, or most of them are behind the screen. I could only see a small black box with their names. So I missed that. It was like a one-way interaction when we speak and nobody is there to see, and we cannot even have eye contact with them. So it is better if we can see our members. So at least for these 2 hours when we are together, we can meet and connect with each other in a better way. And another suggestion is, I really miss table topic session, and I feel it will be great if we can accommodate table topics in our meetings. Maybe we can cut short any of the session, or we didn't had break, but still we could have accommodated a table topic session, which could have given opportunity to all the members to speak. There were many members who were waiting, maybe who are guests. We could have heard from them. Of course, we'll hear from them towards the end for the feedback. But table topic session is something which really keeps that enthusiasm and energy in the Toastmasters meeting. So I really miss that. So overall, today's meeting was a great meeting, and I'm sure that coming weeks we'll be moving one step ahead from here and learn whatever we have missed it in this meeting and do it better next time. So I can say that this was 9 on 10 meeting for me. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to evaluate the meeting. And thank you. And overall, I enjoyed, and I can see the lovely faces who are clapping that they would have already enjoyed today's meeting. Thank you. And over to you, our Toastmaster of the day, Mary Lou.
Thank you very much. Leaders do ride waves, and we have to become better surfers, being able to ride that huge wave. You must have seen pictures of those surfers in Hawaii, and riding those huge waves, and they don't get knocked over. If I were to go to Hawaii, I mean, I wouldn't even go near that wave. So if I were to go to Hawaii and go into this ocean, I need to learn how to surf. And so the analogy is that if I'm in leadership speak, then I need to understand the culture we are trying to create, what's our intention as an advanced club, and then when I become a member, to follow the culture, because I came here to learn something. What was that something that I came to learn? And am I progressing? Which is what an advanced club normally is all about, assessing yourself, which is self-directed. Thank you so much, Mary Lou.